President Obama, as well as his mother, father, stepfather and grandmother all were connected to the Central Intelligence Agency, possibly explaining why the president praises that agency, and declines to prosecute its officials for their crimes. Obama's mother and Dunham worked on behalf of a number of CIA front operations, including the East-West Center at the University of Hawaii, the U.S. Agency for International Development, and the Ford Foundation. The East-West Center had long been affiliated with CIA activities in the Asia-Pacific region. What's more, Obama's father, Barack Obama Sr., arrived in Hawaii from Kenya as part of a CIA program to identify and train Africans who would be useful to the agency in its Cold War operations against the Soviets. Obama Sr. divorced Ms. Dunham in 1964. Ms. Dunham married Lolo Sitoro the following year, a man Matson says assisted in the violent CIA coup against Indonesian President Sukarno that claimed 1 million lives. Obama's mother taught English for USAID, which was a major cover for CIA activities in Indonesia and throughout Southeast Asia. That USAID was a cover for CIA covert operations in Laos was admitted by its administrator Dr. John Hanna on Metromedia News. The organization was also a cover for the CIA in Indonesia. Ms. Dunham worked in Indonesia at a time when Midwest University's Consortium for International Activities, a group that included the University of Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Minnesota and Indiana, was accused of being a front for CIA activities in Indonesia and elsewhere. Ms. Dunham traveled to Ghana, Nepal, Bangladesh, India and Thailand working on microfinancing projects for the CIA. And Ms. Dunham's mother, Madeline Dunham, who raised Obama while his mother was on assignment in Indonesia, acted as vice president of the Bank of Hawaii in Honolulu, which Matson says was used by various CIA front entities. She handled escrow accounts used to make CIA payments to U.S.-supported Asian dictators, including Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos, South Vietnamese President Nguyen Van Thieu, and President Suharto in Indonesia. In effect, the bank was engaged in money laundering for the CIA to prop up covertly its favored leaders in the Asia-Pacific region. It is clear that Dunham Sitoro and her Indonesian husband, President Obama's stepfather, were closely involved in the CIA's operations to steer Indonesia away from the Sino-Soviet orbit after the overthrow of Sukarno. President Obama's own work in 1983 for Business International Corporation, a CIA front that conducted seminars with the world's most powerful leaders and used journalists as agents abroad, dovetails with CIA espionage activities conducted by his mother. There are volumes of written material on the CIA backgrounds of George H. W. Bush and CIA-related activities by his father and children, including former President George W. Bush. Barack Obama, on the other hand, cleverly masked his own CIA connections as well as those of his mother, father, stepfather, and grandmother. A review of the influence on the Oval Office by the CIA, particularly since the presidency of Bush Sr., a former director of the agency. It becomes apparent the agency has played a major role in the shaping of U.S. foreign policy, a role that has been largely kept secret from the American public and one which most Americans would not have approved. The CIA's overthrow of the democratic government of Iran in 1953 is an example. The overthrow occurred after the Iranian government nationalized the oil industry following alleged cheating on payments by contractor British Petroleum, then known as Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. For another, the CIA's widespread use of illegal rendition and torture of suspects is repugnant to Americans who still believe in their constitution.